Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Callie and this is my YouTube channel dedicated to all things nails and good vibes. In today's video, I'm finally sharing my full recap and thoughts on my huge nail polish decluttering process. If you haven't seen any of my Journey to Less Toxic Nail Polish videos before, I've been working through this shift for about a year now, and I have a whole series on my channel documenting several aspects of this adventure. And so before watching this video, I would suggest first watching my initial Less Toxic update video, so I'll link that up in the cards for you if you haven't seen it. I think that'll give you a better idea of kind of where this video is going and also coming from. So back in the summer when I finally finished my huge decluttering process, actually last summer, since summer's actually coming up really soon, I mentioned that I wanted to put together a whole separate video where I'd be able to talk you through my thoughts on the process, go through how many polishes I got rid of, and offer you some tips if you're currently going through something similar. I've had a crazy couple months. As you guys know, I've been in the process of moving for quite a while, but I'm very happy to finally be sitting down to share this with you. So without any further ado, let's get right into the recap. So before we get started, I did want to mention that I'll be putting timestamps in the description box if you'd like to come back to any specific sections in the future, but I would definitely recommend watching this video in its entirety, as I'm going to be covering a lot of different topics that all relate to each other, so I want to make sure you get the whole picture. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is how many polishes I ended up getting rid of, and this was kind of the initial idea for this video because I thought it would be a really cool thing to look back on. So basically we're going to go through how many I started with and to what I'm ending with and the estimated monetary value of what I ended up getting rid of. So if you've been on my channel for a long time, you might know that I've been collecting polishes for about 6 years and I've built up a pretty large collection. So before I started this process, I'm not sure exactly how many polishes I had, but I'm going to guess that it was around 400, and I would say most of those were probably mainstream brands and maybe a quarter from indie brands. So at the end of a few months worth of decluttering, I finished with about 240 usable polishes. In other words, I mentioned in a few of my decluttering videos that some polishes I just ended up keeping for sentimental value or for display, but not necessarily to use because they were old or contained ingredients I no longer wish to use, so this number doesn't include any of those. So overall I ended up getting rid of about 160 polishes. So with all the polishes I got rid of, most of them, like I said, were from mainstream brands, so I estimated and rounded up their value to be about $10 each, not including things like minis or sets, because I did get rid of quite a few of those as well. So with that average price per bottle, in total I believe I ended up getting rid of about $1,600 worth of nail polish. I wanted to share this A, because it's something that I thought of calculating at the very beginning of my decluttering, and B, because at least for me, I really wanted to get an idea of how much money I'd spent over the years on polishes that for a long time I had no idea what kind of ingredients they contained. A lot of times when we talk about buying better quality things, whether it's food or skincare or makeup or nail polish or whatever, sometimes we get discouraged because of the price hike you can sometimes see with higher quality items. Now, high price definitely doesn't guarantee better ingredients, so it's important to do your research. In fact, plenty of the polishes I ended up getting rid of were coming from more expensive salon quality brands, but at least for cheaper polishes, and I did get rid of quite a few of those as well, and more low quality options, you usually get what you pay for. So overall, I just wanted to share the estimated number just to say that polish purchases can add up no matter what, whether you're looking at ingredients or not. So if you're going to spend the money, I really encourage you to research brands first, check ingredient labels, and make sure you know what you're putting on your nails, just so that you can be more comfortable with what you're spending. And I've said this a lot, especially in blog posts and things where I really wanted to share some helpful information and some tips. So price and marketing tactics don't mean anything by themselves, so it's super important to really dig into those ingredients ahead of time. And like I always say, also, if you're looking for somewhere to start, please check out the Less Toxic page of my website, 360nails.com. The link is in the description box, and it features a ton of resources to help you get started. Okay, on to the next topic. Thank you for listening. Next, I'd like to walk you through my decluttering process timeline so you can get an idea of how long it took, what steps I went through, and everything like that. So I began my decluttering process in March of 2021, and I just started going through by color. Like I said, you can see all of my decluttering videos in my Journey to Less Toxic Nail Polish playlist, so if you'd like to get more details of my process, or if you need a decluttering buddy while you're going through your own collection, then I'd encourage you to check those out. I didn't film every aspect of my decluttering, but a large portion of it is in those videos, and they're longer, so like I said, if you need something to watch or listen to while you're working, those are a really great option. When I would declutter polishes, I'd basically just sit down with a segment of my collection and go through polish by polish, opening up the label and looking for ingredients I'd researched and personally wanted to avoid. If I wasn't able to find a label on the actual polish, for example, if it wasn't super old or really obscure, then I would just look up its name and brand online to see if I could find the ingredient list there. I then sorted these polishes into keep and use, keep and display, or keep and get rid of. As for the actual getting rid of part of the process, I wasn't exactly sure what to do in the beginning, but after some research, I just ended up following the guidelines put forth by my local waste facility. If you're not sure what to do either, I'd encourage you to do some research and see what facilities in your area recommend. And as I mentioned in the video, I was also in the process of moving during this time, so I ended up packing up the polishes I had left about 2 or 3 months after starting my declutter. Of course, this could take you more or less time depending on how many polishes you have and at what pace you go, so if you're personally working on this, don't worry about anyone else's timeline. As I've decluttered a lot of things over the years, I've found that it's very important to go at your own pace and pay attention to how you feel on different days. Some days I can spend hours working on a project like this, but on others I really need to step away so I can come back to it with fresh eyes. So just overall, do what's best for you and helps you be the most efficient with it. I packed up about 3 boxes of nail polish. One was filled with individually bubble wrapped bottles in their plastic trays that I'd had them in for a while. One was smaller with just the individually wrapped bottles. And I believe I also put quite a few various ones inside some other package boxes I had lying around. All of these were a mix of usable and keepsake. I also packed a small train case with polishes that I've been using during my moving process while my others are still packed away. So overall, this process took me about 4 months to complete. That's why I wanted to include all of these details. And like I said, everyone's time frame will be different, but I wanted to share my personal experience in case that would be helpful to you. So finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about why I think this is important and give you some tips for you if you're currently on your own less toxic journey or planning to start one. The first thing I want to say is don't be discouraged by how big this task might seem at first. Even if right now you're not really thinking about polish decluttering from a less toxic angle per se, it's still such a helpful and cleansing process to go through. If you're like me and you've been collecting polishes for a long time, it's important to know what you have and what you can use. I found so many old, useless polishes that I'd had sitting around for so long. Their formulas are really aged and thick and impossible to use. It's so easy sometimes to just pull out a polish you've had for a long time and keep on using it until it runs out, but I always have to remind myself, at least if that age isn't noticeable, that it's much healthier for me to actually get just a new polish, especially if I can find one that has better ingredients these days. I've seen mixed opinions on nail polish shelf life, but the articles I came across when looking up some things for research at least said about 2 years once a polish has been opened, so please, as I always say, do your own research and be mindful of how old your day-to-day polishes are. It's also really important to break down your decluttering into segments to help it feel less overwhelming. I know if I had just taken a whole bunch of polishes at random from my collection and didn't give myself any limitations, I don't think it would have been nearly as efficient or enjoyable. So since my polishes were organized in trays by color at the time, and also thank you to my mom for helping me do that because that was really great, I decided to go through them just that way. You can see some of my organization in my decluttering videos, like I said, because that's how I sectioned out the videos too. For example, I decluttered pink polishes one day, I decluttered purple and blue together another day. One time I even went through the nail polish organizers I had on my desk to go through my color palette of most used polishes. So given their size or rank in my favorites, these groups varied in their difficulty of going through, but breaking them down like this definitely helped a lot. Like I mentioned in my video where I went through some of my most used ones, that was pretty hard because those were some of my favorites and just ones that I tended to gravitate toward a lot when doing nail art. But other ones that I just really hadn't looked at in a long time or just weren't super important to me, those were much easier to go through. So I say this all the time, but you also have to know what you're looking for when you start decluttering. What are your goals? Why do you want to declutter your polishes? It's really helpful to keep these thoughts in mind as you go forward. I especially found that helpful since, like I mentioned already, and that's kind of the theme of this video, my goal with decluttering was to make my collection more healthy and just not have as many polishes laying around that I wasn't going to use, and just make room for new things and just better options that I personally wanted to purchase. So that was a really big part of my journey. I also wanted to remind you that while this process can be challenging, it doesn't have to be super stressful, believe it or not. I've been seeing a lot of discussion in the less toxic or non-toxic community about how it's important to not let this sort of shift overwhelm every minute of your day. I've definitely been there. It's very easy to stress over every last ingredient and everything that you come across when shopping or researching. So it's really important to take a step back at times, reevaluate your priorities often, and realize what elements are important to you and what elements aren't. I say this a lot when talking about nail polish ingredients. There are some that are higher up on my list of ones I'd like to avoid, while others aren't as big a deal to me personally. So as you're going through your own journey, just remember that this is supposed to be a positive experience, and it's okay to focus on just one area at a time and not worry so much about everything all at once. And I do just want to say I believe in you, and I'm praying that your journey will be an absolutely wonderful one. So that is it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and let me know in the comments what your decluttering tips are or what has helped you the most in your less toxic journey if you've been on one before or going on one currently. This video has been on my list for a long time, so I'm really happy I was finally able to share it with you. Like I said, if you have any more questions about my less toxic journey or decluttering process, please leave a comment below and I'll do my best to give a great answer. If you'd like to catch up on the rest of my Journey to Less Toxic Nail Polish series, I'll have that playlist linked in the description box down below. You can also check out today's blog post for some extra resources and thoughts, and I do totally want to keep talking about this and do more videos like this with more kind of like chatty things and going through some tips and tricks and just my personal experiences with different elements of this process, so just let me know if you have any requests for more videos like this. As always, I wanted to say a huge thank you for all of your support throughout this journey. I cannot believe my 1 year Less Toxic anniversary was the other day, and I remember on the day when I posted my initial Less Toxic shift video and the update about my channel, I received so many supportive comments. I was almost in tears just looking at all of it. It was so overwhelming to see such awesome support. So just a huge thank you to you, whether you've been here from day one or if you found my channel recently. I'm so happy you're here, and I'm really glad that we can go on this journey together. I know this was a longer, way more chatty video than usual, so thank you so much for watching, and I'm really hoping to have a couple more videos up this month. Like I said, my schedule has been all over the place, and I am still trying to figure out what types of videos I want to post this month, and I'm just really happy that I have such a lovely community to share all of these fun things with. So just keep an eye out for new videos. I'll try to keep you guys updated over on my Instagram and on my community tab. So thank you so much for your patience and your understanding while I'm still in the process of moving. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to get back to a regular schedule, but thanks for sticking around for the more sporadic videos in between. And also, I forgot to mention in the beginning of this video, I did actually do another Less Toxic video recently, and it was kind of going over my ingredient research process. So if that's something you're interested in, I will have that linked up in the cards or in the description box. It's probably in my Less Toxic playlist as well. So if you want to check that out, I just hope you will. It's brand new, so I wanted to mention it. So I think that is all for now. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon with another video. Same nail time, same nail channel. Have a polished rest of your day, and I'm wishing you all the best on your own less toxic journey. Bye!